Wagwan loves, this knowledge butterfly. As always, sending you guys out peace, blessings, love, and abundance out into the ether on this beautiful, beautiful Saturn day. Oh my goodness, y'all. So early in the AM, because it really wasn't last night, about 12:30 AM, I decided to get into some mushrooms. And before I get into the actual trip, I am going to take my time because I really and truly want to paint the picture and give you guys a full picture of what led up to the process of me um, partaking and experiencing the mushrooms, and also how, like, the experience of that trip. So, about a month ago, I had a dream that I was sitting in this house, my father's house, and I was about to go to the bathroom, and I went into the bathroom, and I saw a man lying on the counter. There was a man lying on the counter, and he was like kind of laid out, and that man was Baron Samedi. Okay, and if anybody knows who Baron Samedi is one of the Lawas, that's connected with I always want to say voodoo, but it's voodoo, I think is the way it's pronounced. And he is one of the gatekeepers, of the underworld. He reminds me kind of Anubis in ancient Egypt. So he was basically, like I said, he was laying on the counter of the bathroom. And so I sat down on the toilet, but I wasn't using the bathroom. So it's kind of like how you sit the toilet seat down and you're just sitting there. So, like us females do sometimes when we doing our hair. So I was sitting there and I asked him, I said, "Who am I?" He took my left hand. And if anybody's familiar with palmistry, you know that that these lines are different. They mean different things. The left hand and the right hand. They might have, the lines are the same, meaning like you still have your lifeline, your love line, and health line, and all those things on both hands. But the left is energy that you came into this motherfucker with. The right is things that you developed in this lifetime. So my hand was like this, and he did this with his hand, and he pulled it out, and it's like he was pulling out, my story, my energy, really trying to think of the best way, because it's really, really hard. Certain things be really hard to explain when you're talking about a spiritual, because there's really no English words or any words on this planet. I don't care if I was speaking French or gosh, I can't even get it out, or Japanese or Hebrew or whatever. It would still be difficult to explain because it is a spiritual experience. And when you're doing spiritual, is above anything that's on the physical plane. The physical can't match spiritual. However, after he did that, I noticed another man on my left hand side, and this man was lighter skinned. And after I saw that man, I went into darkness. Now, I was already sitting in darkness with them, but I could see them. But I went into complete darkness and I saw nothing around me. And then after that, I was in a schoolroom. I was in a room, sitting in a classroom, and I was the only person in that room. And it wasn't dark because I could see the board, I could see the other chairs that were empty. And then I saw a door to the left, and as I was about to go into that door, I got a phone call. So it woke me up out of that sleep. However, that particular dream, that experience, was leading me up to this mushroom trip. So fast forward, a month later, on Friday, I had already reached out a couple of days before to one of my friends. She's this Caucasian lady, and she had already done mushrooms before. So I reached out to her and told her I was interested, and asked her if she could reach out to her contacts and get me about 3 grams. And she's like, he's he's not in the state right now. However, she had 3 grams. So she had exactly what I wanted. So I told her I would probably try to meet up with her over the weekend, and I really wanted to do it on Friday. or get it on Friday so I could do it this weekend. I just knew that I needed to do it this weekend. And so I took MARTA. When I tell you the journey from going there and coming back was 5 hours. I did not get back here because she didn't reply to my message to 6 something, and I had to take the MARTA bus, and I live in the country, so I had to walk, and that walk is about 30 minutes. Then I have to take the MARTA bus, which is about 45 minutes. Then I get on the train to go all the way to North Spring Station from East Point Station, and that bitch is about 45 minutes. Then you get there, and then I'm there after 9 o'clock, so MARTA cuts off. It cuts off servicing a certain area after 9, so you have to take 2 trains instead of 1. So anywho's, I went through all of that, right, just to get those mushrooms. When I got there to pick them up, the lady is always very sweet. She had made me a little goodie bag, so she had gave me an extra mushroom, which was like a chocolate, something, like a chocolate covered mushroom. It was organic dark chocolate. So I was like, cool. She gave me some tea, and she has like some of the best tea. And so, I get back here after like 12:07 is when I looked at the clock. I was here. I was like, I'm going to take a shower, and I'm going to see if I'm going to do the mushrooms, because I really was feeling like it's late, So I took my shower, and I had noticed like weird things were happening. Let me rewind. So before I got to the house, I was walking to the bus from the East Point train station so I can come back to the house, and a bug flew in my left eye. A bug hadn't flew in my not my left eye, but my eyes in years. I was a little girl, that used to happen all the time. So I was like, automatically, the bugs are like coming to the light. They come into the light because we are the light, when you are truly elevating yourself and ascending. So fast forward from that, after the bug in my eye, this is just things happen to me. I get to the house, I'm about to take my shower, so I go into the living room and I'm closing the blinds and stuff in the house, and I hit my shin, my left leg. So again, the left side, I hit my left leg. I'm like, well, shit, am I not supposed to do the mushrooms today? Like, what's going on? So I take my shower, I get out the shower, and I told you guys I have a pendulum, and I use that sometimes when I just want to confirm and get confirmation from my higher self. So I asked my higher self, utilizing the pendulum, if I should take the mushrooms, and I got a resounding yes. If it goes counterclockwise, it's a yes. If it goes clockwise, it's a no. If it goes like this, side to side, it's a maybe. So it said yes. So I go ahead, and because I really had just snacked on stuff that whole day, I really hadn't eaten like a whole bunch of food. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I had some chips, and I think I had something else, but it really wasn't like a whole bunch of food. And when you take mushrooms, they say it's best for you to take it on an empty stomach, because it'll absorb in your system quicker, and so you'll start feeling it, the effects of it, much faster. So about 12:30 something, I went ahead and took the mushrooms. It was later than that, because it was going on 1 o'clock actually. I went ahead and took the mushrooms, and I ate a little bit of the chocolate, and then I was like, you know what? I'm tired, because I had been up since 5:30-ish that a.m. And I said, I'm tired. I'm going to lay down, and I'm going to meditate myself to sleep. I said my affirmations, and then I started to doze off. I woke up. I don't even know what the time was, but I woke up. My brain, it was like, just was active, because my pineal gland was very active. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I started seeing colors. I started seeing all these colors, whether my eyes was open or closed. So that was the first thing that started happening. Before that, it actually started kicking in before I had laid down, because I started seeing orbs. I started seeing lights when I was coming down the steps, but I was able to go to sleep. But like I said, it woke me up, and I started seeing more colors. Then I started to feel like the nerves in my teeth from chewing the mushroom. I started to feel every nerve moving, and like, you know what I'm saying? It's really hard to explain, but I could feel certain parts of your body that you don't normally feel. I started to feel those things. I was telling my sister, because me and her went to the Reggae Fest today, that I was touching on my skin, like, oh, this feels so soft, like I had never felt my skin before. I had got out of the bed, and I started to look up at the sky, and I looked up at the sky, and I saw 2 stars. And I've done this before, but it felt different. I looked up at the sky, and I saw a face. I saw a face. The face, it was the stars. The 2 stars were the eyes, and then it was like some light clouds. It was mostly clear skies, but it was some light clouds, and it was my reflection. It startled me, so I jumped into bed, and I started cracking up and laughing. And I was like, I was really silly. I was like, I just saw a face, and I just started laughing. And the face that I saw, the image, it looked like a lion. So I looked like Nyla or something from the Lion King. That's what I saw. So it was almost like in the Lion King, when Simba was looking up at the sky, and he saw his father Mufasa, and he was like, remember who you are. So it reminded me of that dream. So I started seeing my reflection in things around me, and that was helping me not be so attached to only seeing myself in this form. And it was reminding me that's why we get so caught up in this humanity, is because we're stuck in one form when we are everything. When we are in the physical form, is very deceiving. You get caught up in what you see in the mirror, and you think that's who you are, but you are not only one thing. You are everything and no thing at the same motherfucking time. No thing means that you're actually no form. We only take on a form when we choose to incarnate into this realm. So I saw the face in the clouds or in the sky, and I was laying in the bed, and out this window there are a whole bunch of trees. So I started looking at the trees, and even in Jamaica and other times, I had always seen faces in the trees, like the ancestors and things in the trees. This time though, I was seeing my face, not this face, but I was seeing other faces. Some of the faces looked kind of scary, and I would make myself still look at it, and I would still smile at, and it'd be like, I see you, because that was literally like the darkness in my mind, things that I might have been scared about that were coming to the surface to see if I was okay with it. You know what I'm saying? See if I was able to handle it. And then I saw a very cute little baby face, which was my inner child. It represented my inner child, and it smiled at me. It was in the trees, so my inner child was smiling at me. And I'm gonna get into. So those are some of the things that I saw. So I'm going to get into really what shrooms do. Like when you take the mushrooms, what it does is it allows you to connect with all of your elements. It allows you to connect with your physical. So you start feeling things in your body that you would not normally feel. Like you don't normally feel the work that like I said, your nerves are doing, or you don't normally feel the work that your blood is doing, like pumping and stuff like that in your body and moving and circulating. You don't feel those things normally, but when you're on the shrooms, you get more sensitive to those things. Like you can feel those elements because you're not so attached to this body. So that's you feeling your earth element. You also start having a mental connection, which is you feeling your air connection, and the mental is connected to your higher mind. You start being able to hear your higher self way more clearly, and it's not like you hear a voice. You just have a knowing. You just fucking know that it's your higher self talking to you, and you start getting these revelations about things that you might not have even asked about, but because you were so curious about who you truly were. Because I wanted to know who my soul was, not who Tiffany Elisa Smith is, but who the fuck is my soul. So you start having these thoughts come to your head, and you just know that it's the truth. All right. So that again is you connecting to the element of air. Then you start having that spiritual connection, which is that spiritual fire, connecting to the element of fire, and that's you connecting to your third eye, and your soul. So you start feeling like, this is the fire. To me is the hardest thing to explain, your soul. But your soul starts telling you who you are. You start feeling like this really close connection. And I'm gonna be honest, the fire, I'm not even gonna try to explain. I feel like that's the most unexplainable and indescribable feeling, is connected to your soul. And because the soul is like, you just realizing what your purpose is, why you're here. Um, you're connecting to the planets and understanding how the planets relate to your soul, and relate to your energy. So you start to kind of realize when you're doing certain things what type of energy you're tapping into, and I'll give you an example of that. So um Spirit was explaining to me that I went through a whole my childhood was purposely meant for me to feel disconnected from other humans and other children and other people, to feel alone, to feel like the hermit, to feel like nobody understood me, to feel like why the fuck did I come down here? Because I used to question that shit all the time. When I was a little girl, I would be in the bathroom, I would close that toilet seat down and sit on the toilet and be crying, literally crying tears, like, why the fuck did I come here? Why am I here? Are these my real parents? All this type of shit. I promise you, I used to do those things. So Spirit was explaining to me why I'm here, um, and it was explaining to me that I had a lot of untapped, what people call the planet Uranus. I now call Uranus. But I had a lot of untapped Uranus energy. And over the course of me doing my spiritual journey, I was tapping into it. And what that means is that you think outside of the box, you are ahead of your time. Think of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was way ahead of his time. Think of all the people where you be like, damn, they ahead of their time. Andre 3000, you ahead of your time. Like, people don't really get you and understand you, but they're drawn and magnetized to you. That's the type of energy that I have activated, and that I'm in right at this very moment. And I was telling my sister that Uranus is my governing planet. So we all have a governing planet. And it's a particular website you can go to find that out. It's called Oracle something. I will look up that information and get that to you guys. I hold myself accountable. I will get that to you guys. But that tells me that is a strong influence on my particular, my soul. And in order for me to feel my soul's purpose, I have to tap into that Uranus. But before I can really get into that energy, I had to complete my Saturn lesson. And I've said in previous videos that I'm in my Saturn cycle. It started on June the 23rd and it ends on August the 14th. So I have 4 more days in my Saturn cycle. And this whole time, I have been tested, and I'll get into that in just a moment because I want to finish the elements. So the last element, out of the 4 elements that I tapped into, was my emotions, my emotional body, my emotional energy, which is the element of water. So that shows you how we are all 4 things. And so I had tears running down my eyes, but I wasn't emotional about nothing. Like, I wasn't sad, I wasn't happy. It was, it was just really tears running down my eyes. So I was releasing any stagnant emotions that I had been holding on to. I was releasing it during this trip. And I kept thinking about, I had been listening to A. Marie when Leo season came in. She got a song called, well, she's talking about the tears are rolling down her face. Rolling down my face, rolling down my face. Tears keep rolling down my face, rolling down my face. That song. And I was getting into that song, and I wasn't sad, but I was getting into that song. That song was already preparing me for the energy and the experience that I was going to go through with these shrooms. So when you are taking the mushrooms, like when you're going through the trip, you start connecting the dots of all of the stuff that you've been going, like all of the things that were happening that led up to that very moment. And that's literally what was happening to me. That's why I could flash back to the Baron Somni dream. That's why I could flash to why I had to go to the trial of 5 hours of getting those mushrooms on Friday, and why I had to remain positive about it and have a good experience about it, and be like, I needed to take that journey. When I was tripping on the mushrooms, I was like, shit. I was like, when Diddy sent the band to go get that fucking cheesecake and they had to walk, I think it was to Brooklyn. That was my ass. That was my ass on Friday going to get those mushrooms. So that's what it felt like. And another thing that Spirit revealed to me was it basically was getting my crown chakra, activating that, which was like popping my cherry. Now, we all grown. Anybody watching this video, you got to be grown, okay? I did a video talking about the mirrors of your chakras and how the root chakra and the crown chakra are mirrors of one another. So just like your root chakra, you get females, you get your cherry popped when you lose your virginity. That was me losing my spiritual virginity, and I got my crown chakra popped, meaning that my third eye was opened up. And your third eye is an organ. I'm not talking about your third eye chakra, which is tied to your pituitary gland. I'm talking about your actual third eye organ, which looks like a phallus. So when you take any foods that are shaped like a phallus, it is going to feed your third eye organ. And the mushrooms, which I posted the picture on my Instagram, is shaped like a phallus or a penis. And I made the comment that was so fitting because it was impregnating my mind. It was impregnating my third eye chakra. It was impregnating my mind. So it was a crown chakra activation. And shout out to my sister Queen Divination. She did a reading talking about the sign of Sagittarius. I think it was the July reading, and she was talking about all she saw was a whirlwind of energy, which means she saw my Taurus field or toroidal field, which is, if anybody is I don't know if anybody's watched Dan Winter, but he is a physicist, and he talks about how our energy works and how everything, it stems from your heart chakra, and it is like a donut. It creates a donut around your body, and it's like a force field. It's like a tornado. So that's what she was seeing. She was seeing my force field getting stronger, and me connecting to the cosmic mother, me connecting to the ancestors, and me connecting to my true self. So shout out to my sister. And I actually got a reading that me and her are connected in the spiritual realm. We are really spiritual cosmic sisters, and that's why when she's saying something, we be synchronized. We be saying the same motherfucking thing. We be right on point. All right. So I wanted to get that out. And before I get into the other things, like some of the things that revelations that I received, I want to talk about the Saturn cycle. So like I said, my Saturn cycle started June 23rd. And it ends on August the 14th, which is the day before the full fucking moon, right? And after that, I go into my Uranus cycle. So you see where I said that you have to pass the Saturn test before you can actually get the benefits and the gifts of Uranus, and also the gifts of Saturn, because Saturn is the great teacher. People give Saturn such a negative connotation or a bad rap because Saturn is making you grow the fuck up. And when I say grow the fuck up, I'm talking about a spiritual growth, which will lead to a physical growth, because things in your physical life will fall into place because you've taken care of what was most important, which is your spiritual body, who you truly are, your soul. There is nothing else but that. When you transition, you leave this shit, what you have left is who you truly are. And another thing I want to add before I get into the revelations, this actually is a revelation, is that when you are taking the mushrooms, you have to be in sound mind. You have had to do the shadow work. You have had to do the dark magic work, which is tapping into your subconscious mind, which is where all that scary shit is. That's where all your fears lie. That's where all your past incarnated trauma lies. So you have had to blah, blah, blah. You would have had to do that work before you do it. Otherwise, it will be scary for you. I have wanted to do them to do mushrooms since about 2015, but I had too much fear in me to do it. It would have been a very scary experience, and I would not have done it again. So timing is everything. Shout out to this shirt that I picked up a month ago, and this shirt, the tag is timing. So it's telling me timing is everything. Shout out to my two nephews, because last Saturday, one of my nephews was like, when the train came, and he was like, yep, it's in divine time. No, the train was late. He was like, well, everything happens in divine time, and auntie. Then my other nephew, he was here on yesterday, and he had just left, and I had texted him, and I was like, oh, so-and-so just got back. He was like, divine timing. So my nephews, they not even, on the conscious level that I'm at, but that just goes to show you how that melanin is the motherfucking genius. And even if you not conscious of it, you still a motherfucking god, and you still are tapped into it. You just don't even know it. All right. So again, divine timing is everything. So it was meant for me to wait to do the mushrooms at this very moment when I'm in my 4 year, and my 4 year is a building year. I'm actually going to, with Heal Soul, start doing offering readings to build you a profile so you can know what year you're in, because there is a time and a season for everything. There's a year for you to be creating, there's a year for you to be building, there's a year for you to be nurturing, there's a year for you to be starting something new, there's a year for you to be reading and going through your spirit and doing your spiritual work. And there's also 4 seasons that 2 of them are 9-year cycles, and other 2 are longer than 9 years. And so I'll give you a full profile so you can actually know when you're supposed to do things in your life. Because I did my profile and realized that at the age of 37 is when I started my spiritual journey, and it was ordained and destined in my numbers for me to start. From the ages of 37 to 56 is my whole spiritual journey. So I was meant to do exactly what I did when I did it, and be in the physical, and then cut that shit off at the age of 37. And that's exactly what happened. That's when I started to wake up. So that's when I had my alarm clock set. All right. Where was I? Because I definitely want to stay on course with this. So I talked about Saturn and how Saturn is a teacher, the great teacher. So the other thing about my Saturn cycle is I realized that things that I thought I had been delivered from, things that I thought that I had under control, was coming bubbling back up to the surface, because Saturn was like, are you really done? Are you sure? Are you sure? So it had to basically confirm that I was good, and I had passed, in order for me to pass the test to move to the next level. And I had posted on my Instagram that the 8th Alliance Gate was for us to level up, level up, level up, level up, level up. And if you had been doing the work, you are leveling up. So it just goes to show how it was perfect timing for my Saturn cycle to even be in the perfect timing for it to be during this time, for during the 8th Alliance Gate. During this time when miracles and blessings, y'all. I realized that Saturn is the blessings. It's being a lesson. It's really learning your lessons. All right. So yeah, I hope I didn't miss anything with the Saturn, because I wanted to definitely shout out Saturn. Saturn is your own energy. It is your own energy that's saying, okay, have you learned your lesson yet? Are you ready to let that go? Are you ready to set up the boundaries on the things you need to do, which is the discipline? So the boundaries when it comes to over drinking and overeating and overdoing it when it comes to smoking weed, or overdoing it when it comes to anything. Because now I'm about to get into the revelations. One of the revelations I received is what the planet Neptune represents, and the Neptune that's in us. So Neptune is rules your 12th house of your natal chart with Pisces, all right? Because Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. And also that's the house of your subconscious mind. So when you are dealing with any type of addiction, you're dealing with the lower vibration of Neptune. All right. So if you have an addiction to food, if you have an addiction to women, if you have an addiction to men, if you have an addiction to alcohol, if you have an addiction to whatever, addiction to meditating, addiction to crystals, that is your lower vibrational energy in Neptune. And what that is telling you is you are overindulging in these things, because that is the house of prisons. That is the house when you recognize that you are living in a quote-unquote prison. This body is a matrix, so therefore it is a prison. This earth realm is a prison, and what they like to call the matrix. And I say they like to call the matrix is because, like I said, your body is a matrix. Your DNA is a matrix. Your cells are a matrix. Everything is a matrix, all right? So it's what's keeping you here. It's what has your soul locked down, in it. So when you are addicted to something, like how you used to overdo alcohol and drink a lot, it's because you kind of don't want to be here no more. You unconsciously realize you're in a prison, and you want out of it. So you slowly killing this body with that addiction because you know that something ain't something just ain't right. Shout out to Key Sweat. So you know something ain't right. Okay. And so you, like I said, you want out of this shit. And what it means is that you need to ground yourself. You need to balance yourself. And you need to come back down to earth. You know what I'm saying? Not beam me up, Scotty, but you need to bring your ass back down. And so that's where Saturn comes in. Saturn helps you balance out that shit. It helps you start to set boundaries and discipline yourself, as well as Libra, the Maya energy. You can start to balance your yin and your yang energies because that energy is off. All right. The other thing I noticed is that, like I said, Uranus is the energy you tap into when ideas come out of nowhere. It is that potential. It is that new thing. It's literally it's like slutty vegan. Okay, it's Michael Jackson. It's Whitney Houston. It's anybody you can think of. James Brown. Anybody who just comes up with something and just boom. It's social media. That's you tapping into your Uranus. It's going beyond the number 7. It's going beyond the things that everybody knows. That's when you start really getting into the real deal shit. All right. But that's what that energy is. It's being ahead of your time. All right. It's people gonna like my YouTube videos. The universe said 10-15 years down the road, niggas gonna be like, what the, that she was, you know what I'm saying? She was way ahead of her time. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. All right. Now, the other things that I've received revelations on is that children and women are more connected to our emotions, which is, again, your water. And you have to let your water flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. You gotta let it go, my baby. All right. Shout out to Tony Braxton. So, yeah, the tears allow you to let it go. It allows you to let that energy go. When you don't cry, you're literally leaving those emotions bottled up inside. And what happens is when you really have let it bottle up inside, when you cry, it hurts your throat chakra because you have been holding back shit. All right? Them tear ducts are there for a reason. We are water, y'all. Let it flow. And we realize, you know how babies, they might cry for a few seconds or minutes or hours or whatever because they are releasing those emotions from their chakra system and from their emotional body. But we are taught and trained to not, you know, let shit get to us. And a lot of people need to fucking cry. And that's really what the problem is. That's like I said, I was lying there and I was crying, but I had no attachment to those tears no more. I had no attachment to those emotions anymore. It just felt good and I was releasing. And once it was done, the tears stopped coming down. I didn't wake up with puffy eyes or anything like that because it wasn't one of those things where it was anything that I was holding on to. All right. The second revelation I received, or not second, but another revelation I received was getting older and the midlife crisis and the point of like for instance, I turned 40 last year and it was like clockwork. I start feeling like Sagittarius is your hips and your thighs. So I start feeling like these weird pains in there from sleeping in the bed and from laying in a position for a certain amount of time. I start feeling like my ankles and things like that. The Pisces, the feet, I start feeling uncomfortable feelings like pains and things like that. And what my higher self and spirit revealed to me is that getting older and the point of those aches and pains of getting older in the midlife crisis is to prepare your ass to disconnect from the motherfucking body and this realm, because it is letting you know you're going to leave this body. So you have to feel a separation from the body. If the body still feels comfortable, you will want to stay in this motherfucker. You will think everything is good. Getting older in age and aches and pains, we be like, well, why? But people got to go through stuff like that. Why they got to go through pains? It is to teach you to detach from that shit. We knew this. The ancestors, we knew this before we went to sleep. We knew that was why we would feel physical pain. Now everybody is like, well, you got to work out and you got to do this and you got to do that because you got to, keep this body healthy because, so you can live longer. That ain't what we used to think. Now, we used to live longer just because, what I'm saying? That was because we were living not for the physical, we were living as a spiritual being, and it was other factors as well that I won't get into, because everything honestly is not meant to be revealed, and everything is perfect is in time, and I don't want to, that's a long ass story. But we have gotten so attached to these physical bodies that we want to maintain them longer, and we don't have to do that. And this is not saying there's anything wrong with working out. I got into yoga recently, got back into yoga recently. I do it every AM. I meditate. I do my affirmations. I do all of these things because I am feeding life into my spirit first. Okay, because yoga and all those things is still a spiritual science. All that is still science. But let's not get it twisted. We are not supposed to be trying to prolong anything here. You know what I'm saying? When it's time for me to transition, I will be happy to go. All right? 100. For real. So basically that's what spirit revealed to me. That is what getting older with. That's why that number 40 is so very, very powerful. And it definitely means that's when you start tapping into your spiritual wisdom and your third eye chakra. I really think it's the age of 42, but you're like 2 years off from that, and you are supposed to begin to start detaching from this realm and this reality. All right. Another thing that was revealed to me was trauma. Now, the reason why why we did these traumatic rituals and spiritual initiations was because we know that trauma does train the subconscious mind, and we were training ourselves to wake the fuck up because we knew we were going to sleep, and we knew that trauma was needed in order for us to wake up. All right, because the ego has a breaking point when it can't control stuff no more. So all of this shit happening to melanated bodies, being murdered and abused, and all of these things, organs being stolen out of bodies, being murdered for your organs and they've been stolen out your bodies and being sold on the black market. All of that shit, all that trauma is because universe, ancestors saying, wake up. In my Spike Lee, wake up. And everybody's not getting the message right now. Everybody has all this anger, and they're still allowing themselves to be emotionally tied to all the shit that's being done to, our physical bodies and vehicles. But the reason, everything has a reason. And when you start to tap into your God consciousness and your God mind, you realize the two sides to the coin. No, it's not a pretty thing. No, I do not like seeing that happen. I do not like seeing, young children and things like that hurt and harmed, or anybody hurt and harmed. However, I do understand the other side of it. And in order for us to work out, if everything was going beautiful, we would stay asleep, y'all. We would not remember who we were and who we truly are. You know what I'm saying? And why we chose to go through the things that we're going through so we can move to the next level. Again, level the fuck up. All right? What else? Let's see. That's pretty much it that I wanted to get into. Like I said, a lot happened in that experience. It's a lot more that happened in that experience, but everything is not meant to be shared because certain things you have to go through yourself. But the main disclaimer that I want to say is that if you haven't done any work on your mind, you definitely do not need to be taking it because it will be overwhelming for you and you will not be able to handle it. I was having moments where I was giggling and laughing. I was telling my sister everything was like fucking hilarious, and I hadn't laughed that much in a very, very long time. And laughter is the best medicine. So me laughing, the tears coming down, I released a whole lot of stuff. Um, and the last thing I want to say is, this is ending with my Saturn cycle. So like I said, it ends on August the 14th, right before the new moon on August the 15th, and the ancestors were celebrating me. The ancestors were celebrating me, y'all. I they were so proud of me, and they are so proud of me because I passed a test. That whole mushroom trip was a spiritual initiation. And I had gotten the Jack of Spades card. I had pulled the Jack of Spades card that same day, which meant that I was going through a spiritual initiation, or I was about to go through a spiritual initiation. And that's exactly what happened. That whole mushroom trip, my whole Saturn cycle, was a spiritual initiation in order for me to move to the next level of consciousness and the next level of my journey. And so me actually going today to the Reggae Fest was also a physical celebration of my spiritual. And I had already planned this over a month ago. I had already registered for that event. I didn't realize that it would actually be a celebration. And even though I didn't stay the whole time and I didn't get to see Spraga, and everything like that, still getting out and being around people and hearing the good music and having a really good frozen mango and strawberry drink and a pineapple with some Tito's, and having some really good vegan food off a food truck with my sister, and spending time with and connecting with her was still a celebration. So I told y'all I was gonna take my time with this video because I wanted to make sure that I really got out as much information as possible so you guys can get an understanding of, really what it is before you get into it and put yourself in that position. And I really appreciate y'all for listening to this video the whole time, for those who stayed with it, because it is truly giving you that sauce and giving you, information on what that trip might be for yourself. I even pulled cards. I'm not going to break down the cards, but where I came from the Three of Pentacles, the past card, and this is all about building. This is about building some things. This is about creation, creating a new life for myself. And it's a Trinity, which ties into the Godhead. And then I pulled the Empress. This is the current energy. I was really vibing on this energy when I was on the bus. Both times, it was the majority of the time I was the only female on the bus. It was men everywhere else. So I was walking in this energy today, this Venus energy, honey. My divine feminine energy. All right. And Venus is also about physical manifestation and money and possessions and all those things. Without Venus, you don't get no money, honey. That's why she got that what you call it at her feet. What do you call it, guys? I'm just going to say abundance at her feet, because right now the word is not coming to my mind. And then I also pulled the World card, and the World card, and just real quick, all these cards are threes. Three of Pentacles, a 3. The Empress, a 3. And the World is 21, and 2 plus 1 is a 3. So I pulled a 333 today. In the World, you see the 4 corners. This is guess what card this is, y'all? The Saturn card. Bitch, I passed my Saturn test. So that's what it's saying. I passed my Saturn test. So now I have all the access of the 4 corners of the world. The 4 corners of the world. Those 4 elements that I talked about. And here I am in the center of those 4 elements. I'm the ether. All right? I'm the ether. And I have my wands in my hand. I have the balance of the masculine and the feminine energy. And you see the lion, the Leo here. Leo is a fixed sign and fixed energy. I got Taurus here. Taurus is a fixed sign and fixed energy. So Leo is the fire. Taurus is the earth, and it's a fixed sign. And then I got gosh, I can't even get out everything that I'm trying to say right now. But I also have my air right here, where you see the bird, and I have the water, where you see the feminine energy and the angel or whatever. So we know that the water fixed sign is Scorpio, and we know that the fire fixed sign, or the fire of the Leo. We know that where am I, guys? Earth, air, fire, water. So the water fixed sign is Scorpio. The earth fixed sign is Taurus. The fire fixed sign is Leo, and the air fixed sign, that's the one I was missing, guys. The air fixed sign is Aquarius. All right, so you just have making shit happen on this earthly plane. Let's just say, put it that way, and not just making shit happen on the earthly plane, doing the spiritual thing too. So I also got the Ace of Diamonds here, and that's about values. So I've learned what's truly valuable, and now I am moving into being, because this also is like the Magician card. So anything you want to make happen, you want this card to come up. So I have the Magician card, and then the six of spades. Anytime that you see the six, that's tied into Venus and the feminine energy, and the spades is about knowledge, and it also when you see the six, it is masculine and feminine energy. It's the balance of it. So it's almost like the higher spiritual knowledge I've gained and I've balanced both of those, and I've made them become one. All right. And then I got the Eight of Diamonds. Diamonds is that money, and the number 8 is my life path number, as well as it is the number for my birthday, the month, the date, and the year. And it's also the 26 is the day I was born. 2 + 6 is 8. So I'm tapping into that 8 energy, which is my executive energy, my boss energy, my making shit happen energy, my setting foundations energy, all of that good stuff. So I'm going to end the video on that note, guys. I really hope you got something from it, got what you needed from it. You know what I'm saying? I always say take what you need, take what resonates with you, and then leave what don't. Because you don't have to absorb everything, because everything ain't for you. But for those that it's for, I really appreciate you guys for, tuning into it for this whole video, so you can get, what my experience was like with mushrooms. Also, if you guys want to subscribe to my channel, you can click on the link in the video. If you want to follow me on my social medias, I have all of that at the bottom. You can follow me on my Instagrams. I have my Knowledge Butterfly Instagram, and I also have my Holistic Energy Alchemist, this chick right here, as well as my Facebook page, which is Empress Ross Star. And then I also have my Cash App and my PayPal for you guys to support my channel. If you feel that vibration in your heart chakra, then send me a love donation, because I am definitely worthy and I am valuable, honey. And my information is valuable. I know that now. Also, if you want to reach out for a consultation, I do help you with chakra balancing. So I give you a full, comprehensive profile of what your imbalances are, and the things that you can do to correct those imbalances by focusing on your chakras, the planets, and your zodiac signs, because I do a full profile, and that is a very lengthy process. But it's all love. It's all love and energy. And I'm also, like I said, getting into the numerology profile, so giving you a profile so you can know where your energy where you should be putting your focus into, so you can make shit happen in your life. All right. And so I have the email for that at the bottom, which is the Holistic Energy Alchemist at gmail.com. So reach out to me for a free consultation, and that consultation really just involves me seeing what you are looking to get out of your energy readings, and then we'll go from there. All right. So I really appreciate you guys for tuning into it. Shout out to the ancestors for solidifying the fact that I passed my Saturn test by giving me 444 on the clock that this AM, because I did not go to sleep to after 5 a.m. honey. That's how long that trip is. So if you take the mushrooms, know that you will not be going to sleep until you come down from that trip. Okay. And that was only 1 gram. So imagine if I took the full 3, honey, I would have been up for 8 to 9 hours. But I digress, y'all. I really appreciate you guys for watching my videos, for supporting me, for tuning into me, and also for coming back for more of this knowledge butterfly energy. You know what I'm saying? Because I cultivate my knowledge into wisdom, and my wisdom into motherfucking understanding. Okay? Peace.